Today we have another amazing person that we're going to get to interview and have a chat with that has done the gamut from real estate, top producing agent in the California area, to being in a franchise, owning their own independent brokerage, and actually converting to a new franchise. So we're super happy to talk to our guest today. Her name is Jenny Pok-Larramendy.
That's right. So sit back and join us today on the WB&L Wandering But Not Lost podcast.
You've reached the WB&L Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. And now your hosts, Jan O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Well, welcome everyone to the WB&L Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. This is episode 242. You can find all of our show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. Yeah, Jan O'Brien talking to Jenny today is kind of perfect in the series that we're putting together. We're up to part 3, so we've talked about the pros and cons. We've gone into the 10 basic things to get you started. We talked about the administrative or kind of the back end stuff you need to do. Last week we touched on the marketing and branding part of the whole spiel. And then we got some great stuff coming up with recruiting and retention and exit strategy. And you're right, Jenny's done it all. So this is going to be awesome.
That's right. We can't wait to get her perspective of the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I'm thinking there's a little bit of it all.
Always a little bit of ugly. That's just really, it's just part of what happens, right? You know,
it's all part of the journey.
All right, let's bring Jenny in.
All part of the journey, right, Miss Jenny?
Yes. Good morning, guys.
Hey there.
Welcome back, Jenny. You've been on here with us before. We're so jazzed to talk to you. So why don't we just jump in and you can tell our audience a little bit of, you could just take a minute, and I briefly said you've done it all, but tell a little story of maybe where you've been and how you got to where you are now.
32nd year in real estate. So it's been quite the journey. Didn't start off as a broker or an agent, but started off traveling with Floyd Wickman and Mike Ferry, selling the top producer product. And that got into the real estate side, real estate sales, real estate brokerages over the years. And here we are. So, yeah.
I love it. I forgot that you did all that. That's why you're so good at doing all the trainings, but you sold all that as well. Yeah. So you've had a lot of sales experience.
Yeah.
So as you obviously, what part of your 32 years has been in the brokerage, like owning the brokerage side? Because you really just did that in only like what? I'm trying to remember.
Oh gosh, it was about
when you got into ownership
6 years ago.
Yeah. See, so
so never crossed my mind. Never even came into any of my mindset. I was doing very well selling real estate relationally. I'm a big Brian Buffini component, as you are as well. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it was just doing what I was told, and it kind of all blended beautifully. I had a really good life and still do, but it was different. It was on my terms. It was it was all about how I can relate to my clients. Until I was approached to manage and own a franchise that at the time, and still is in some ways, but at the time was revolutionary. It was a value proposition I never seen before. Mm-hmm. And that was Realty One at the time. And then unfortunate circumstances, which took place. I had lost my business partner. He had passed away. And it was, what do we do now? Right. I can't let down my agents. At the time, we had over 100 agents, which is considered a large brokerage here, and in most of our industry. Mm-hmm. And we decided to become an independent at that point. Tried that. We felt that my business partners and I felt that we had a lot to offer and a lot of great ideas that were completely different from a franchise model, completely different from the industry as a whole. And then fast forward to now, we reversed that, and I'll explain why.
Yeah, and maybe that's the big question I have is like, you've gone through that, because it's so interesting to have somebody take the journey you have. Can you talk a little bit about what you've learned or the pros and cons of being independent versus the franchise has to be the right fit. That's clear. But talk about what was good about being independent and maybe what wasn't so good and what maybe led you to go and convert to a ReMax.
Sure. So those of you or your listeners who are deciding to be, to own their own brokerage, take the legalities aside, take all of the compliance aside, take all the knowledge you have to have, take all the money you got to put aside, which is a lot. And it is 100% amazing to at least try and follow your dreams and see how it goes. You'll never know until you try it. But right. It comes with consequences, and it comes with struggles at times. And independent was our company is Proper Real Estate.
Love that name always.
I do too. And it was, real estate done proper is our tagline. And it's what we firmly believe. But at the time, it was like a little like I was letting my baby go and fly away. You know what I mean? We put so much love and effort into Proper, and Proper still exists. Just because you have a franchise name, it's still the same. Your values can still be the same. Your core and your beliefs right. and your culture, that doesn't have to change. Just
you folded that in, basically.
Right. So backing up, you really have to, just like we do in real estate sales, you have to monitor the market, where it's going. And if I'm sure you guys agree, it's been really hard to monitor what's going on. I talk to all of our real estate professionals and our colleagues, our title reps, escrow, lenders, everybody is hustling right now because we don't know what's going on. It's just been kind of a funky time, and we're still successful. We're still selling homes. It's just a lot harder and a lot more commitment.
Yep. Not as many across the board for everybody. No. Sales are down, listings are down.
Right. And as an independent, you have to look at that, because you have to now look at the consumer. What does the consumer want? What is the consumer looking at? And I hate to say this, but the consumers know nothing about independence. They know nothing about boutique brokerages. The money's behind a boutique brokerages that you need to put that out there is extremely expensive. And then when you do your evaluation of cost per agent, you're going to lose money. That's just really the bottom line. Unless you have, an ATM financier that says do whatever you want to do, but that's not the reality. So, I'm going to move this over just a sec. So, we had to take that into consideration. We had to take in the costs. It's like a 2 or 3 year plan. When you want to bring in all that value to your agents, that costs money and time and energy. And implementing the back end, implementing the retention side, it's extremely doable, and it's fun to watch. But when the industry does this, and goes down and up, and my hands are, it does affect your bottom line. And then you've got to go, okay, what can we do better? What can we do differently? Coincidentally, and this was a coincidence, we were not going anywhere, and we were going to see Proper to its full potential, and possibly the dream was to franchise that. Until we got approached by ReMax, and that's where I got my start, by the way. That's my first broker.
Oh, that's funny. Full circle.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's a very serendipitous thing. I can't explain it. Sometimes the world just.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
We believe that.
Yeah. Don't ask why. Just go with it. So my partners, Mike and Paul, and I were approached. It was an offer we couldn't refuse. However, we would have refused it had it not been for ReMax's new evolved branding, more modernized. They've been around. They're the biggest brokerage in the world, the largest agent count in the world. They are a household name, and we all know this. But I wasn't interested in being a franchisor anymore, or franchisee, I should say. I wanted to. I was torn. Until I saw what they could provide our agents, and that's really what it's all about. It's what they need, and it has to be a perfect fit. And I think where we get confused as an independent is you try to become so agent centric that the brokerage can't sustain.
Yep.
When you give, you got to find that happy medium. And so this provided us the tools and the ability to give the agents everything they need, but it still makes sense for the brokerage. And that is what has to happen.
Balance.
You have to find that balance. Yeah. And you can't find that with a lot of other brands, to be honest.
I have a question that I think comes to this is maybe my opinion, but I'm wondering what you think, because I feel that the franchise fits for a company that has a desire to grow and attract agents. I mean, I feel like if I think about in my markets that I'm in, independent brokerages, there's a few that are very successful, but most of them are small and they're just doing it kind of for themselves, and they have a handful of agents.
Right.
And that might not work for them to be in a franchise for just their business and their teams, let's say. Would you agree or disagree, or what do you think? Because you've done both.
I agree and disagree, to be honest with you, because I never needed a brokerage. If you follow Brian or you follow the referral method, they care about you. The consumer
that's why I want to get to
who you're with. They don't.
That's what I want to know, because I feel like, are you feeling as a broker owner that you say the consumers, because I kind of feel it's all about your agents and who they attract, because I agree 100% with what you're saying, but where does it fit in that the pitch of any brokerage or franchise is we need it, our agents want it? Do you think your agents want that more than they would over at just independent proper? What do you think right now moving over? Is it a bigger attractor?
Yeah, this will answer your question. My agents, God bless them.
They love
you. We lost a few when we switched from Realty One to Proper to ReMax.
Okay.
Actually, we didn't lose any from Proper to ReMax.
Okay.
But when Lewis passed and all of that happened, I literally was in tears. Like, it was so emotional to see all the agents go, "We're going where you're going." Never did they care about anything but, "Where are you going? I'm following you." So if you are a broker owner that loves on your agents and are there for them, I don't care if you're XYZ Real Estate, ReMax, Keller Williams, I don't care who you are. It's irrelevant. Because we have trained our agents, and our agents are such pros that they are very, very independent. They are not, robots under a brand. And that's what you get by some of these brands that will go nameless. You are them. And you market them, you promote them. I'm not saying ReMax doesn't want that and encourage that, but the new ReMax allows us to be us. The branding guidelines have completely changed. Are they true to their brand? Absolutely. You can't have a, multi-billion-dollar company and not have it focused on the brand. But to allow the companies that you now acquired to still have that independence is the smartest thing I think ReMax ever did. And that is why we said, okay, so our agents can still be their individual brand. They could still be the big brand, and they can still get everything from me. Right. So nothing really changed for them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Because you summed it up when you were talking about you were super agent centric when you were independent, right? Because you were just focusing on that, and that is often does not become ROI is not there on that, right? But I think when you make that mind shift, that you can actually just take your culture, what you've built in your own independent company, and roll it into the franchise, which you were able to do, and ReMax obviously is allowing you to do what you need to do. You can be. It is the best of all the worlds. So that's fantastic.
Exactly. And let's be honest, some of these franchise fees and these The back end of a brokerage will kill a brokerage if you don't do it right. If you don't hire the right people, if you don't have all the puzzle pieces put together in perfect shape, you're setting yourself up for a really tough road ahead. And so you can still be that broker and brokerage that allows you to love on your agents and be there for them. But let's be real, we're running a business here. We're all running a business here. And you have to find, especially now, our rents have stayed the same. They're not going down. Our insurance has gone up. It's not going down. You add up the cost of a brokerage and a slowdown in the industry where you're doing, 40, 50 transactions a month down to 20 to 30, that's brutal. That is brutal. So you have to find that happy medium.
All right. And so so I know converting is always a process, and you got to get through all that craziness. And so are you still doing that? Or have you made the complete conversion?
We were so prepared. You have to be very, very careful. It took us, it was months and months. We went out to Denver. We did a lot of courting. We listened. We asked. We had lots of sit downs. Is this the right thing for us? The pros outweighed the cons 100%. And we came up with a great solution and a great business plan moving forward. But this also led us to be in first place position, which we are now. I can't talk too much about it, but we're in the middle of a couple acquisitions where we're.
Well, the question I was going to have is growth in the future,
overnight. And so the transition
is. So I'm sorry I stepped on you. That was the follow up was. I'm assuming your goal is to grow, right? And do you have a growth goal, you and your partners, like what you'd like to, double the number of agent count or whatever as time goes on?
Right. So the acquisitions that we are looking into, hopefully, the one in particular should be finalized within the next 30 to 60 days, which will increase our agent count by another 130 agents.
Very exciting.
So we're super, super excited.
Wow.
And I think, there's no reward without risk, and you have to do it.
All right. Well, there you go, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Look at the story. Full circle, 32 years.
Well, I'll be honest.
31 right now.
I'll be honest with you. I had a 5-year plan. I should have been out in a year.
Hey, so did I.
It's another.
I got another like 5 to 7 year plan, my friend. So do you probably.
Well, plans are fluid, right? They change as things go on, and we did lose a year or 2 years in our lives.
Sure.
All of us.
But here's my final question before we go into this next segment: are you having fun?
Yeah.
There are days that I am, and there are days that I'm not. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is, I barely sleep. My brain doesn't turn off. There's so much to do. You got to recruit. There's just so much. There's just so much. And so on those days, you got to change your mindset and go, you know what? I'm looking at this for the long haul. It's all good. And ultimately, yes, it is. So you can't go into this either with the glass half full. You have to, or the glass half empty. I'm sorry, wrong analogy there. You have to be all in. And so there are days when I'm with my agents or I'm training. I love it.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm in my place. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And then there's days where I'm like, what am I doing?
Okay, what did I do?
Yeah. No, you're human. You have to think like that sometimes. So
we've all been there.
But you've got great momentum. It's very exciting. We're very, very happy for you. So Matt, let's set up this segment that we do, because whether we have a mixture here with Miss Jenny, she's been there, done that agent wise, and kind of probably have a sense of how she's going to answer some of these questions, but I can't wait to hear what she says.
All right. Well, yeah, let's jump into the Ask 5. The first question that we ask is, it's really about how you coach and train up your agents. And well, you have this experience too, but regarding just your database and how you actually manage people that are already in your pipeline, what's the best idea that you have for actually dealing with that, or your best ideas for, growing your SOI and and dealing with your past clients?
Well, we are, I can't preach it enough. You don't know what I'm going to say. I mean, working relationally, joining, Buffini and Company. I put all my faith and all my eggs in one basket, and it was the best thing I've ever done. Mm-hmm. I got caught in that shiny object syndrome, which I'm trying to keep our agents away from. It's like, don't do what he or she is doing, because it might not be right for you. But what will work, I don't care who you are, is working relationally. So to answer your question, my sphere and past clients, I'm at that time in my life, which takes time, but the phone just rings. They know who I am. They know what I do. I'm not a secret agent. I have to continue loving and servicing my clients that I cultivated all of these years. So I am an active broker, but very clear. I want to make it very clear, not a competing broker. And I think that's what really needs to be.
So come from that place. Your suggestion is, your advice and what you teach is, you've got to stay in touch and nurture, and a la the Brian Buffini method, which is the simplest, easiest: show items of value, stay in touch, do Popeyes. It's you tell them that's what you need to do. You got to talk to them.
It's so simple. Okay. It is just so simple. I cringe a little bit. I really do when I hear my agents going, "Oh, I just bought some leads," when they don't even have systems in place to run the leads, to cultivate the leads. I'm like, what are you doing? So that's another story.
All right. We love it. And it sounds simple. It is simple, but people don't implement it. There's so many people I talk to that they just, you're in a different place in your career, but someone knows folks, but they're not doing anything to cultivate and to nurture.
I was that person.
The top of the line. They still get business, but they could get so much more. And that's what Brian and others are always saying is, and you don't have to, it's a very fine line. You don't overdo it, but you got to do something. You got to let them know you're still alive and you're still there to service their real estate needs.
Right. And my preach is, why would you spend so much energy on someone who doesn't even know you to convince them that you're amazing, when you could put the same effort into someone who already does and loves you? It makes no sense to me. I'm not saying leads aren't amazing. I know agents that are killing it, but it's really rare.
Sure.
To be able to run your business by leads, because then it becomes transaction based, not relationship based.
At least do the basics. All right, we love it, and I like your advice there. So, what about next question is more? All right, so outside of database, so when I'm coaching people always say, well, 80% of my business comes from people I know, sphere of influence, database, whatever. So then I say to most people, and I'll ask them this question: what's another idea that you're either sharing with other agents now that is going to help them generate business that's not specifically from their database, so that they can add to their database?
I am a huge supporter of our title team, our lending team. Again, part of this business is your relationships outside of your sphere, the people that can help you with your business. Okay. When you're new to our company, we insist that you sit down with our lending team and our title team. Get a farm set up, get these things taken care of. Just because you're working relationally doesn't mean you can't work other avenues of the business. Yeah. But don't do them half-assed. Do everything 100%. So you can't give 100% to 5 or 6 different revenue streams. You're gonna fail at one of them, or 2 of them, or 3 of them. You have to 100% on one. Once that's dialed in, let's now look at a different revenue stream. Let's dial that one in. So they're well-oiled machines. Great. So there's lots of ways to cultivate business outside of your sphere, and that can be, business to business relationships, asking for referrals there, farming, like I said, putting good value out to the consumer. it can, interest rates, fraud, identity fraud. I mean, there's so much marketing that these ancillary services give you. Why not take advantage of that? They want you to grow too.
That's a great idea. Leverage your vendor teams and what they can do to help leverage you generate business. Okay, love that idea.
That's a fantastic idea. All right, Jenny, here's a question. You probably have a good answer for this one. What holds you back
from
just moving forward and anything that you're working on, really? What are the obstacles for you?
If I'm talking as a human, exhaustion, tired, burnt out. These are all things that I can relate with every single agent in this industry and broker in this industry and owner of this industry. We put so much love and thought into what we're doing. And the funny thing is everybody thinks you're rich and wealthy if you're a broker owner. And I'm like, if that was the case, I still wouldn't be selling real estate. But
your 5-year plan would be over.
Exactly. Yeah. So really nothing's holding me back because I'm here. You can't, nothing can. If you're in this position, you can't have anything hold you back.
I love that.
You have to have your family understanding what you're doing. You have to have your employees. Everybody has got to be on the same page as you to make it work. Nothing's holding me back, but
I love that.
Time and energy.
I love it. I love that positivity. That's it.
Absolutely.
So this next question is just whatever comes to mind about, and I know Brian Buffini's been a big influence in his company in your life too, but is there anything else that stands out as far as something that a person, an entity, a book, anything that you recommend to others that you find so inspirational that it's like in the top of your mind when you're sharing with people? You always are reading books.
I think I have it right here.
I'm always interested to know what you have to say on that.
So here it comes.
Oh, we should ask Jenny, what's currently inspiring you?
Yeah.
Well, currently it's Rachel Hollis. She's my, I don't know if you can see her.
Can you hold the book up a little bit higher? I just want to see the title.
All right, hold on. There we go.
Girls, Stop Apologizing. Okay, girl, stop apologizing.
It's a shame-free plan for embracing and achieving your goals. So I love a good romance novel every once in a great while if I'm on vacation, but honestly, you need some sort of, who motivates us? Yeah, I'm motivating, but nobody motivates me. I'm too busy to go find it. Brian, absolutely. One of the things that I love so much is that we incorporated is I do every 2 weeks, we have a group of us and we meet and discuss working relationally, everything. And we listen to a podcast. You guys, Jan, we hire you and Matt every year to do our business planning. You have to have go-tos in your life. But aside from Brian, I loved Darren Hardy. I listened to, God, just so great. And
the Darren Daily.
So good. Yeah, Darren Daily. I just love it. There's so many. But believe it or not, I'm very inspired by some of the brokers I've met in my industry, because just because we're competitors doesn't mean that we can't, role play together and ask each other what's working, what's not working, because we're all in the same boat. So some of the brokers in my area totally inspire me. But yeah, and I have to do better at that. I have to do better at, putting myself first so I can help the agents better.
Well, You've had a little going on lately.
Yeah.
So.
A little bit.
Just a little bit in the last just few years.
Yeah.
You need a big break.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is, say bye-bye to 2-week vacations because you can't leave. I talked to an agent the other day and I said, oh my gosh, you're at such and such. I love your broker. She's amazing. And she goes, who? Oh. And I said, your broker, blah, blah, blah. And blown away that she only knew her team leader.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't have agents. So
Well, that explains a lot about the success you're having. So well done.
And you'll be recruiting her soon.
I hope so.
Heck yeah. Okay.
To round out the top 5, Jenny, just, this is pretty, general and all encompassing, but what's your best advice for agents for not only this year, but really for, going into the future?
100% consistency. This is not an easy business. And if you're getting into it thinking that it is, you are absolutely mistaken. It is, yes, is there luck in it? Some people have luck, very, very, very rare. But it always concerns me and really bums me out when agents will give up. I've been calling these people for 3 months and I'm not, this is hard. Or I've been farming this area for a year and nothing. I'm like, well, because you need a few more years.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen overnight. And so my advice is stay consistent. Don't try something for 2 months and say it didn't work, because that's not how this industry works. You gotta share with people why they should trust you. And that takes time. Relationships are not, that's what they call it, dating. You got to date for a while to understand if you guys are a fit. And you don't think the consumer's, thinking the same thing. So my advice is, don't do what Jan's doing or Matt's doing because you're not Matt or Jan. Yeah, and it's very easy to get sucked in and be a follower. Very hard to succeed when you're a follower. You got to be extremely independent and understand your values and respect your values and your value prop and stay in your lane.
Do you and do it consistently. Could not agree with that more.
Absolutely.
Basically what I say.
It's not
find your passion, find your groove, find what you're good at in this business.
Because isn't that an easy concept? It's easy. But why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for them to get it?
Yeah.
So,
but if it was easy, then everybody'd be doing it, and people would be able to thrive and really do well in this business. So there it is, right? Yeah. So it's not for everyone, but there we go. Wow, awesome stuff, Jenny. I am so excited to get an update on where you're at, and it has been quite a journey. It's very exciting that things synchronistically do line up. I think it's amazing that you come full circle. Yeah. And you have, sounds like we're going to have to catch up with you.
Absolutely.
We'll have to have you back to see what's happening a year from now.
Love it. Oh my gosh. If I had
really want to do that next year. Okay. We'll have you back and say, all right, last time we talked, this is what was going on. What's up? Okay.
Right. Well, I'm actually going to be, we got to talk because October-ish we have to do.
Okay. Yeah. Right on. We're ready for you.
I feel like there's no chance this isn't going to go in the direction you want. Jenny, it was awesome. You brought some real to the podcast today, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Because clearly you're going through the process right now.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. We appreciate you and we wish you the best of luck in your area. It's so exciting. I'll have to be, and I'm back here in Las Vegas. I was in Florida for a while, so now I'm in Vegas, so I'm not far away.
Well, I'm bringing my mom and dad home from Florida. They're coming back to Cali. So
all right.
Yeah.
I know.
Everyone out of Florida. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna. If you want to learn more about Jenny, you want to learn more about ReMax Proper Real Estate. All of the information will be over in the show notes. And once again, this is episode 242. You can find all those show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com. God, Jenny, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Next week, we're going to jump back into our opening your own brokerage series. We're going to be up to part 4, which is all about recruiting. So we're going to touch on that next week. All right. So until then, everyone get up, get out, live the life you frickin' dreamed, which, clearly we're doing our best and trying to get there and doing that. And be forever wandering, but not lost.
Thank you.
Awesome. Jenny.